Okay, this got long.
Hey there, YouTubers. I thought I would show you some Class B and van life, and even RV life, tricks, gadgets, hacks, whatever you want to call them. So we'll start with this little menagerie of stuff. First, you can see in the back, those are solar panels. A lot of people want to spend a boatload of money on solar. And if you're doing predominantly off-grid stuff, that's a fantastic idea. But I don't do a ton of it. I do some. So I wasn't willing to outlay all that kind of money. So first we'll get through everything I'm looking at here. And again, there's going to be other stuff that I do around the RV other than this. This is a battery pack. You know, a decent one, a small one. This fits in my pocket. I can take it with me. Like this one, tiny little one. I have 3 or 4 more. These are solar ones that will recharge by solar, or you can also recharge them by USB. And I recharge what I can by solar. And then when I'm driving, I'm recharging a lot of things off the alternator as I'm going to augment my onboard battery. All this stuff is just to augment that. So those are battery packs. These are lights. This goes with this actually, and it opens it up and it looks like that. I find actually, I use this a lot as a flashlight. I just carry it around like that and point it where I want it to be. And then I have this one. This is made for tents, and I use this quite a bit. Has a little hook on the top, meant to hang from the top of your tent as such. But I use it in the RV. And these are not very expensive. I just got this one. This is another solar light. This one also has, you can charge things from the onboard battery, phones and stuff like that, and you can charge to it. You can charge the solar with it, the solar battery. This is pretty cool. And I've also found, honestly, a lot of times when I'm going without power for a night or two, these lights and these battery packs easily get me through a night. You know, if I use 2 of these in the RV, and you know, the battery packs all have lights on them, that's really all the light I usually need. So there's those. So we'll get on to the real solar panels. This big one is the suitcase style solar panel. I have found, in my personal opinion, which is all I ever have is an opinion, I just didn't want to throw all that huge amount of money into a fancy solar because I don't think I need it. Okay, so this has arms here. You open it up, you set it and point it at the sun as you want. It's all built in. Everything's built in. So I just opened my battery bay for my house batteries, and you just plug right in, and it's small suitcase size. Each panel is 40 watts, so that gives it 80 watts. I've found the times I've used it, it's really all I need. And keep my battery topped up at a day in the sun. And again, because the animals, I go a lot of places, you know, when it's cold, to keep the place warm, solar panels aren't gonna do it. And when it's summer, I like to be places that are warm. And a solar panel's not gonna power your air conditioner. It'll do fine with some fans and stuff, but if you're leaving animals in there all day and it's really hot, I use power. But when I'm in other situations where I'm at the right weather and I find a nice spot, I use this all winter down in Key West, off and on all winter when I needed it. And it worked fine, it worked great. And like I said, the charge controller's all in there. You can see it, it's even blinking. It's trying to get some charge now. I don't know if you can see that blinking, it's blinking. But everything's built in, so it's quick and easy setup, and it folds down nice. And then I still have the box it goes in. So when I travel with it, that's why I don't always take it, because again, in a Class B, you don't have a lot of space. The other advantages to this is something I've never understood why a lot of people do, and I know I'm wrong, but it's just my perspective. People spend tons of money and they put all kinds of solar on the roof of their RV. Well, then you have to park in the sun to get the benefit, and then your RVs get hot because it's in the sun. So something portable like these, I've just always thought they've made a lot more sense, where if you're lucky, you can park in the shade and put something like that out in the sun. The only thing is, if you leave, you got to make sure you're in a place where they're not going to leave in somebody else's hands. That's why I think the portable ones are a lot better. All right, this sucker, this is my Duracell battery pack. It's 600 peak and 480 continuous. And I've had it like 6 years maybe. I've done videos on it. It worked great for a really long time, and then a while back the inverter portion went out. So it has 3 110 outlets, but my inverter went bad. I took it apart, my neighbor took it apart as well, and just couldn't get the inverter working again. But the battery's still good. Not as good as day one, but it still does pretty well. And it has a light on it that still works. Wish the inverter worked, but the light works. They don't make this model anymore, but they make things similar. This has 12 volt, and the 12 volt still works fine. Then some of the great features of this, you can charge this from 110. You can also charge this, which I do a lot, 12 volt into your cigarette lighter and use your alternator to charge it while you're driving, which is fantastic. And then down here, this spot, I didn't bring them up, but there's jumper cables, and I've jumped my RV quite a few times, 4 or 5 times with it when it's gotten cold, and it has more than enough power to jump your car battery or your RV battery. So that's an awesome feature. This has a radio on the back. So what I've been doing, like that winter that I did down in Key West, I used that solar panel outside a lot. And again, the solar panel it's a 30 watt panel, but you plug this into the same spot and then you can charge this. And what I did is I left a 12 volt fan going, is back when the inverter still worked, because 12 volt, it draws less power. And I was able to have this running a fan all day long. And now still I can put an adapter in here and I can charge anything USB powered. So if I want to put that out in the sun and either charge USB fans that I have, or a regular 12 volt fan, or charge these things up, you know, if I want to, my cell phone, whatever, I can still charge off of this. So I sure wish that these still worked, but I'm glad that even after all this time that this still works. I need to plug it in. It's down to 70% charge. But those are some cheaper, more flexible solar ideas and options that I've been using and I've found a lot of success with. So now we're going to move on to some other stuff. All right, YouTubers, I'm going to show you something else. I've shown these in the past. These are beach mats. I get them at the thrift store for like under $1. I have types like this. Here's another type. They work awesome for Class Bs and vans. If you've ever priced out those big fancy ones, they're super expensive. And these usually last me a season, depending on where you're going, what kind of ground you're putting them on. And I just use them to, as a doormat, leave your shoes outside so you keep it clean inside. Here's another one. I have a few of them. Every now and then I give them away when I'm on my travels. But I don't sit outside my RV, so I don't need those great big mats that are really expensive. I have one, I just never use it. But I think these are a good suggestion for people in a situation like mine. All right, I'm going to show you 2 things. First of all, this is a dehumidifier, and you can see I got water in it. These are plug-ins. I also have this type, which you leave sit inside, and then they'll turn color when they're full of water. And what I do is I take them outside and you plug them in, and you get the water out of them and reuse them. I used to use damp rid, but I found that stuff to be very problematic. If you have cats, or if you happen to be clumsy like myself and knock those over, you will create quite a mess. So since I'm on power often, I think these are awesome. I have, I think, 3 of these and a bigger one I found at the thrift store. I paid full price for the first one, I think 5 or 6 years now, and it's still working. Next thing, coffee pot. Again, since I'm on power a lot, and I've shown my sink, I'll show you my sink again. There's my sink. It's very hard to do dishes in that sink. So I heat up water in my coffee pot, and then well, I kind of did my own hack. And what I did is I drilled a hole in the center big enough for this straw to get down to the bottom. Then I use smaller holes to make basically a rain thing. peak, the sides of the caps matter, but you need something with a bigger cap to make the water come out like a shower. So what I do is I'll fill one of these jugs up about halfway with regular water, sometimes water I've left outside that's warm. Then I use the coffee pot, or if I'm cooking in a pot, I'll boil water anyways and put it in there. It works great. I have a video that an old video that I'm going to put in right here. But one word of wisdom, if you get rushed and you forget to put warm or cool water in there, hot water out of the coffee pot is gonna melt your container. So this gets to go in the garbage. But that shows you that the water's hot enough, and now here's that video. See? That's a better look at it. Just drill little holes in it, and it turns it into a shower. Sorry for the audio of this old clip.
When you got a tiny RV sink, here's what you do.
Wash them in a bucket, boiling up the water to make hot dishwater. You can use it for showers and dishes.
So I washed a bunch of the dishes, and that's my little dishwasher. It's hot. And then a bucket so I can dump them out. Pretty simple. Why am I showing so much? To show you that this little homemade shower thing actually works pretty well. Now when you wash the New Wave on the dome. Imagine trying to wash this in an RV sink. This would be just a huge mess in the RV. There we go. Vacuum out. This 1 gallon shop vac is just so much better than one of those crappy little handheld dust busters or whatever. Especially if you got cat hair to clean up.
Just throwing in how you make a queen bed in a Class B van.
That's just to protect from the cats while the comforter dries.
Some cat people ask, this tent is by a company called Abo Gear.
And that's what you do for cats that won't go on a call. A small folding table like this is great if you're going places and you're not sure if there's going to be a picnic table.
I'm going to show you this, but I'm not going to bother with the meal. That's that thing I got at the thrift store that I'm going to boil water because I'm going to make pasta, and I don't want all the steam getting on everything. So I've put this this blind thing up to protect.
Here's something useful, a nice mesh bag for firewood.
That's going to work great.
Also, I have one of these. This is a camp shower that somebody actually gave me. You could use it as a shower inside or outside the RV. And how these work is you just pull that and then the water comes out and you close it and the water stops. I've also used this to rinse dishes. Another thing, I get these at the thrift store. These are waterproof. I think they're crib liners. And I put them over my seats. There's always one on here. It's not on there now because I'm not RVing right now. But I will take this one, put it on, and then when I'm driving, I take it off and put it under the seat. And it protects me from the cat hair, and also if they vomit or something like that, if you spill stuff. So these things, if you don't want to spend a lot of money on fancy seat covers and you want something that you can take off and wash, these crib liners fit these big seats and vans very, very well. All right, YouTubers, here's the next thing, and this is probably one of my favorites. These are those Save the Planet bags, right? So what I do is, these are t-shirts. I fold them up in thirds like this, and then I put them in these bags and kind of color code them. So like that's all t-shirts. This different colored bag, it'll be something like swishy pants, shorts, like a pair of jeans, and then another bag like this bag here. This is all my dry fit kind of shirts, you know, for when I'm running or jogging and stuff. You know, nice shirts so I don't stink as much as I want. And again, my shirts are all larges, so I just fold them in thirds, put them in the bag. And I might have a bag for like red shirts. Also helps with laundry, you know, like a nice sriracha shirt because it's awesome sauce. And then like I got a white bag for, wait for it, white t-shirts, like Sloppy Joe's, you know. And it just helps keep everything organized. Again, not a quality I possess on my own, but I'll show you why I thought of this. All right, that's my storage bin. And when I first went, I'd stack all my shirts nicely, and then you realize, oh, I want the shirt that's third or fourth down or whatever. And like in 3 days, this thing was a total mess, that and driving around. So what I do is I can say, okay, there's all my white t-shirts, and I know the white bag has white t-shirts. And I got another bag that I know that has jeans, swishy pants, shorts. I know where my running bag goes. And again, these are not very full, but as you can see, I can get a lot of them in there. And then when I decide, okay, I want a t-shirt, I pull the bag out, and then I can take the t-shirt that I want out without making a total mess, and then put it back in, and I'm good to go as such. So basically, I've said before too that I take a lot of clothes with me, but all my clothes fit up here. And then this bin right here right now, there's some books in it. Henry David Thoreau's in there. I'm meaning to read it, but that's usually, not that you care, but that's where like my underwear and socks and stuff go. And then this side I use more for storage, and this side I tend to have a lot of like hoodies and heavy stuff. And there's my gimbal and some camera stuff, and then there's some heavy sweatshirts in there. So that's my idea on that. And I tell you, if you want to try anything, whether you're in a van or you're in a larger RV, I really think those Save the Planet bags are a fantastic idea. You don't like to pat yourself on the back too much, but I'm gonna pat myself on the back. If you want to borrow, steal, whatever you call it, I think you might like that idea. Or at least give it a shot, see what you think. All right, I've showed this before, but another super quick idea. These are paper egg cartons. I fill them with sawdust, and then I melt down candles or crayons, and I dump it in there, and you have the world's greatest fire starter. Again, I take a lot of these with me. I have a stack right now, probably of at least a dozen, which would make it like, what, 144. And sometimes I do give these away if you see me along the road. This is sawdust that I use to make just that last fire starter that I showed you. Got this all from the wonderful UP. And I'm gonna put it in this cat litter bucket because, you know, I got cats. And I got one that's got diabetes, so he was peeing a lot for a while. So I got these containers. All right, there we go. There's a full big tub of it. Sawdust. It's not always easy to find when you're not a woodworker and you don't live in the country. So you bring a whole bunch of it back from the UP. This is another older video that I couldn't find the clip of, so I recorded it off my channel, and again apologize for the audio. Now the origins of that screen was, it was $8 and it went around a gazebo. All the Velcro that's on the screen was already on the gazebo part of it. My aunt was able to sew it together. But not only is that awesome, and I tell you, if you got pets, that my cats love to sit there when it's open, when the weather's nice. This thrift store find was pretty awesome. It's just Velcro. And I'll also admit, there's no way I could have done this if not for my aunt, who's like an actual seamstress kind of stuff.
If I had to do this myself, it would have been all duct taped.
But there's more to it. Again, it was only $8. Let me show you the rest of it. But there is the awning out on the
It goes on pretty easy, not too bad. And the one that's just for the door, I've seen those sold aftermarket, and they've all been at least $100. So again, $8. So there you go. Awning screen ones are really expensive.
So because I'm showing you just quick, I just put a few clips on. And you just use clips, put it on the screen. And then you have that whole bug-free area. Use the bottom part. There's eyelets. You can drive some stakes in. And what I do on the doors is there's enough material that I just use some magnets to keep it to the doors, and the bugs are out. So that's a pretty good deal. Just shows you for $8 you can find some really cool things. And the good thing about this is that there's a zipper. So you can open this up.
Here's what I think is a really good use for pool noodles.
You just cut a slit in them, and then it will protect you from banging your head against these. Because if you've ever done it, it really hurts.
I'm sure other people do it, but I thought of it for me. I hadn't seen anybody else do it, but if you have this kind of awning, I highly suggest this. You bang your head once, and you'll be glad you did this.
Here's another thing I do. I'm always so afraid that the awning's going to get ripped off while driving. It's probably happened, but I don't want it to happen to mine, so I'll show you what I do. I wrap a piece of Velcro around it to keep it tight. Okay, I do it on both ends. Can't make any guarantees.
These are those shoe holders that I use. I cut them down and they work fantastic. It's kind of hard to do this right here, but I'm going to try to show you. These are just clips, and I took this down because I was working on the window when I had a leak, even though I haven't put the casing back on yet. Still no leak months later. Should put the casing back on, but I think these are one of my best little hacks just for quick and easy storage. So I'll show you how this works. So I just use these binder clips, put that under there, and then clip them onto that holder. I make sure to put the fabric over the top so I'm not marking anything in the back. And I just flip these down so they're out of the way, and there we go. So convenient to put stuff you get to a lot, like my remotes go in there, batteries, just other junk that I can find really quickly. And we'll put the other one back up. All right, and that's that. Pretty good. Little stuff like fuses. There's my cell phone booster, clips and junk. I think that's a great little trick. Hope you enjoyed. We'll show you more. Here's another tip. This is my above the stove, and I don't have anything in here, so it doesn't work as well. But these cutting boards, I'll put them here, and then do as such, and that way when I'm driving, if I go to open this, nothing comes flying out. There's another way you can do it. A lot of people will put like cargo netting back there that they can move in and out of the way, like on all their cabinets, but I don't do that. But you need cutting boards anyways, and that's a good use for them when you're driving. All right, a lot of people are always screaming that your cutting board moves around, and it doesn't bother me. They say, I know the old trick of put a wet dish rag under your cutting board. That is non-slip stuff. It's not the piece I actually use. I just grabbed it. But then you take your cutting board and you lay your cutting board on there, and there you go. It's not going to move, and everything doesn't get wet. So don't use a wet napkin. Use some non-slip stuff. Had to move a cat, but I hope there was some useful stuff. Stay safe and have a great and wonderful day.